folks, TJ here. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to read for you the very first article that I made for the new Next magazine. I asked Chris if it was okay if I did this. Figured, it's the issue's now number 1. We're up to number 3 now. And would it be okay that I read my article out loud? Maybe chat about it a little bit as I go? And he said, sure, go for it. So that's what we're going to do. I've done this before. I forget, it was, what's the name of it? It was, I wrote up an article for a book that was on Kickstarter, and I've already forgot the name. It started with a B, Bonanza? I forgot what it is, but that's not what we're going to do today. We're going to read my very first article, and hopefully I can bring up the level of enthusiasm and excitement I had for writing this article, because I've written articles before, but I've written for the company I work for, has a fly fishing, or at one time a fly fishing magazine. We had 3 issues, and I wrote for each one. That was fly fishing, not geek stuff. So this is the first, I think, article that I wrote for a publication that talks about computers. So I'm excited. So why don't you sit down, grab a drink, whatever that may be. It's hot in here, and I actually turned this computer off because it does a little whir in the background. I've got a fan there, and I turned that off so you don't have a whir during my chat. I'm wearing my Next shirt here, so we're going to be all about Next, but I may start sweating a little bit and peel my clothes off because it's hot in this room, and I've got that light up there, so bear with me if I start sweating a little bit. I figured rather than have fan whir through the whole video, I'll turn it all off. I should have had the air conditioner on earlier, but it's getting up to the mid-90s, 100-degree temperatures again here, so it's a little hot. So, Next magazine, for those that don't have a clue, we're up to issue 3. It's a Next magazine, all about Next, and I was asked by Chris, would I like to have an article it comes out every 2 months. And I said, oh boy, yes, I would do it. And so I've been doing it. Hopefully people enjoy what I'm writing about. He said, write whatever you want. So most of my stuff is, I'm a cheerleader. Not in svelte form, but I cheer on product. I cheer on excitement. That's my specialty, if you want to call it that. I'm definitely no tech guru. I'm not stupid, but I'm not super elaborately scientific. I'm kind of in the middle. So I do have some techie things that I do, but most everything I do is just, I'm a dude, you come over my house, we chat, we play video games, we have a good time. That's my thing. And sometimes I'll get a little bit more technical than others, but most of the time, no, I don't try to overthink things. I just throw myself in and go for it. And that's what we're going to do now. So this is issue number 1. It's a magazine all about Next. I'll put the link down below. If you're not subscribing, we're up to issue 3. To the best of my knowledge, 1 and 2 are sold out in hard copy form, so you're out of luck there, but maybe you can still get the digital form. I'll put the link down below. But if you're not subscribing, I definitely recommend it. So the magazine is just like the Crash magazine. Here's my hand. So you'll see that it's a relatively small magazine, and it's not like a big A4 or whatever size they call it. And the pages on this first one is 60 pages. What page was I on in this one? I think it's 14, something like that. Let me go to 14. Yes, it is. So let me show you my spread. That didn't come out right. Well, it did, but it did. Here's my spread in the magazine. That still doesn't sound right. Everybody, stab your eyes out. No, don't do that, but you get my drift. Go to Nicer World, go to Peace, Tranquility, Geek Stuff, and here's my, I think it's just a 2-pager if I remember right. Was it just 2 pages? Yes. So, TJ's Corner is what they decided would be the name. I don't think I chose that name. They just said it's going to be TJ's Corner, so I went with it. And with every issue, you can include some pictures, so I included some pictures. I don't recall including this picture, but that's the one that they used for the magazine, and it was probably a grab from some past video that I did, because I'm a YouTube dude, and it was me, cupping my cheeks and going, oh! So they've been going with that one, and I'm perfectly fine with it. There's also the Howdy Folks TJ here, which is a artsy AI created probably, but a gentleman that's been very kind to me and some other 8-bit retro computer enthusiasts on the YouTubes, Slappy Marsden. He's been very nice, and he's created some of these fun things, and he created that Howdy Folks, and he included some pictures and little fun things of, me and what I do. So that was very cool. And then there was another picture of me that I took long ago that's actually on my YouTube channel, is the main image of me with all of my computers, all the specky goodness. And it looks like I got my head chopped off on that one, but that's perfectly fine. You don't need to see my whole face. I'm going to take my glasses off because it's going to be kind of hard to read. This room is actually dark, but I've got a ambient purplish light behind me. I've got the main light beaming over there. I'm starting to sweat, but we're going to read TJ's Corner from issue number 1. And from a Fusion Retro Books publication. So, very cool. It includes my YouTube channel. So, up on the very top, it says Next Mag OS column. So, I'm an official columner. Columner? It sounds like some type of paste or something. www.youtube.com/Mac Society is my YouTube channel. And it says TJ's Corner. I am TJ Ferreira from Northern California. And you can see what Sinclair Next shenanigans I am up to on my YouTube channel. So that's how the top it presents and opens up the world of me to you. And then in yellow text below my face, making that weird facial expression, but that's normal for me. Shaking my head as I write these first few lines. I continue shaking my head, feel a tad dizzy now, and asking myself, how did I get here? How did I get here? What the heck is going on, I say? And how could someone like me be writing for the very first Sinclair ZX Spectrum Next magazine? That was my question. And I was questioning why they would choose me. I'm some weird dude. I'm not weird. Well, I am, but I'm a dude from the United States. But I guess I've built my notoriety, for lack of a better word, a little bit in the last, 2018 is when I kind of started learning about Spectrum and my YouTube channel, so I guess enough people know who I am now, but I was still shocked. Oh, why would they want me? Yeah. So I was tickled pink, needless to say, and I say, what the heck is going on? Okay, yes, I am very excited, I say, as you can tell from the above statement, but also quite amazed that this bloke, me, TJ Ferreira from the United States of America, not exactly a mecca for the Sinclair line of computers, has been asked to write a column for this new magazine. I mean, do folks in the USA even know what a Sinclair is? Some may have asked me before, and you'll probably hear my dog barking in the background. That's part of the nature of my videos. Anything can happen at any time. So, well, sure, I say. There are some. Stepping back to the early 1980s, there was a few more, but here in the USA, it is mostly about other 8-bit computers, like the TRS-80, Atari 400/800, Commodore VIC in 64, Apple IIs, and a few other oddballs, because there were some oddball computers as well. With the Sinclair computers taking up a very small sliver of that piece of pie if you drew a pie chart. Sure, they were available, but no, it was not the big bee's knees over here. It was where you are, probably viewing this right now, or most of you, in the UK and places over there. So, yeah, it was a very small sliver. There were a few people here in the USA, enough to where I remember it, and I actually was considering buying a ZX80 if you've been watching my videos, but instead I went and spent 10 times more money on an Atari 800, and very well chosen I did, because I wanted the colors, I wanted the sound. The Atari 800 is a far leagues ahead of a ZX80, but I was still considering it, so I knew about Sinclair. Now, some of you may think an oddball is not a good thing, but I think different. I act different, and I know different. Many of these oddballs were awesome computers. some strapped back with less common features that the big boys offered, probably to keep those prices really low, to some just doing things a tad different from the norm, carving out their own niches as they developed their product lines. In the 1970s and early 1980s, did the young me even know what a Sinclair computer was? Surprisingly, I did. And what seemed a second choice for my first computer that I could buy back in the 1980s has become a computer platform that I almost love more than any other, even my original Atari. Let me explain. So, yeah, you've heard me before. If I had to pick computer, which one would it be? You have to take it all with a grain of salt. If you ask the 1980 me, Atari. If you ask the 2000 me, Atari. If you ask the 2015 me, Atari. But if you ask me now what computer I'm having the most fun with, it would have to be my Speccy Next. It has reinvigorated my excitement for everything computer. So, yeah, the Next is a wonderful computer. In 1980, I was ready to buy my very first computer. I had many choices, and believe it or not, the Sinclair was on my radar, as I had seen some advertisements for this slick-looking, wee little white number called the ZX80. Did I start this recording? Now, this is where I could screw myself over. If I get close to the camera, sometimes see right here, it's probably going to go blurry, and then I've screwed up the whole rest of the video, and I don't want to come back and read, so let it refocus on me. Hopefully it does. I should have just trusted myself knowing that I started the recording. So hopefully, 1, 2, 3. Is it focused in on my face again? Hopefully. Now, where did I end off? Okay. Let's see. It sure looked cool to my young 8-bit eyes. We're talking about the ZX80. But I did my due diligence exploring all my options. You see, I had to buy my own computer with my own money. Back in the time when kids like me, not even a teen yet, worked for money, I was a busy little dude. Paper routes here were commonly handled by young kids, waking up early, wrapping the papers with rubber bands, loading the papers into a double-sided packs we slung over our shoulders. Then we either walked or rode our bicycles, throwing said papers right at the doors of the fine folks who would read the newspapers with their cup of coffee. So I was a paper boy earning money. We worked hard. I know I did with 2 paper routes. And after many years of saving, I had almost $1,000 to spend. After buying many computer magazines to read reviews and going to stores such as Macy's, yes, Macy's sold computers here, Kmart, actual computer stores, and the like, I honed my choices down to 2 computers. The Atari 800 or the Sinclair ZX80. Can you believe that? So my lineage to Sinclair goes back a long time, but I didn't go that route. But it's still cool to know that I was considering it. 2 very different computers. Now you must be shaking your head in amazement. And yes, I get why you would, but let me further explain. So yeah, it's confusing. Why would I even consider the ZX80? In 1980, the Atari 800 with a cassette recorder was about $1,200. And off the top of my memory, that's what it was back then. This was above and what I had saved, and a boatload of money for a young kid like me. I earned every penny of it, and I worked hard, but man, you know how many other goodies I could buy for $1,000? That's what I had saved up at the time. As for my second choice, the Sinclair ZX80 was just a tad under $200 US. I could buy the computer and tons more games for it, and have leftover dollars for BB guns, wrist rockets, those are like slingshots, and tons of candy. More candy. And I give a little ha-ha at the end. I was in a pickle, choosing what my first computer would be, but went with the fun factor of what I could do with the one I end up with. The Atari 800 won this kid's heart. However, I could not fully afford it. After all, I was $200 short what am I going to do? If memory serves, I chose the Atari 800, and after seeing one at Macy's, and then started to bug my parents. What kid doesn't bug their parents? Tugs on their shirt or jacket and says, I want this, I want this. So I bugged my parents to help me buy it. I seem to remember they pitched in the $200 to get the cassette recorder and even a game or two. Did I choose well, I say. Hell yes, yeah, I did. And as much as I love Sinclair now, there really is no comparison between an Atari 800 and a Sinclair ZX80. We can end that argument here. The Atari had color and sound. Done. I mean, eye candy and kids go hand in hand, right? So there's no comparison, but I was being frugal. I could buy this and I can get extra candy and a BB gun. What kid doesn't like shooting their eye out with a BB gun, right? Just like the Christmas, what was it, the name of the Christmas show? Christmas something, first Christmas, last Christmas? I don't know. It was a Christmas movie. Shoot your eye out, kid. Anyway, I made the right choice back in 1980. But how about fast forwarding to 2017 and some shenanigans going on in the retro computer scene? Some blurb about a Spectrum Next with all sorts of social media and online eye candy. Opening my eyes, I started to have 8-bit dreams all over again. And some new loves were starting in my heart. Stirring, like you stir something. Stir like your cake. You're making a cake. You're stirring the batter. Okay, well, where did I end up here? These 8-bit dreams were not coming from beloved Atari, but instead a sexy black little number from the UK, the Sinclair ZX Spectrum Next. I started to stay up to the wee hours of the night, finding anything I could read about Sinclair, specifically staying abreast of all the news about the new Kickstarter that would come for buying the new Speccy Next computer. Yes, I already started to get the Speccy fever, and the only cure was to buy a cowbell. I forgot I wrote that. That's funny. No, dummy. The only cure was to dive deep into a new rabbit hole and buy and play with some older Sinclair computers until that point in time I could buy a Next. I fell in deep and hard. Deep and hard. Isn't that a wonderful thing? I know most of the older vintage Speccy computers. I now own, I should say. So I now own most of the older vintage Spectrum computers. And as of today, own 2 Speccy Next, Kickstarter number 1 and number 2, and even created my own video game for the next Invasion of the Cloud People, The Next Storm. The story about this first game that I made will come another day, as I have run out of space here, but wanted to say I am so thankful, so very thankful, that Chris Wilkins asked me to write for this magazine. I have many stories to tell, even if I am a funny little bloke from across the pond, where Sinclair did not rule, but somehow found a place in this old man's heart. And that's where it ends. My fun little first article. I think I'm only allowed like roughly 1,000 words. I was told to try to stay within that. By the way, did you know that there's already issue 1 and issue 2 of this magazine? Issue 3 is already available in PDF form. My guess is they will be sending it to the printer in the not-too-distant future. And then we'll be getting issue number 3. So that's why I asked Chris, do you mind if I read my story? I enjoy that. So most of my articles are going to be about my experiences. Some of them about me. The whole thing that juiced me up was Spectrum Next Basic. Oh, I can make my own video game. That's what really excited me. So I did it. And I made my own video game. And I've been this summer and spring and summer, sending out and manually making one by one the Invasion of the Cloud People, The Next Storm. So some of my articles will cover that experience. I also will cover you, asking you, like the old army and military posts, we want you kind of thing, pointing the finger. We want you to create a game. If TJ can do it, you sure as hell can probably do it. I want to see other people like me that don't have tons of experience make a video game, because I want to download it, I want to play it, I want to have fun with it. So I'm here being a cheerleader. So that's what most of my articles will be, cheerleading the Next. Guess what just came in? I purchased the Next binder. That just came in the mail a couple of days ago. So I've now got these 2 issues that I need to fill in said binder. It's very exciting. I just love that I'm involved in this in some little way. I hope you enjoy my articles. There's tons of great stuff in these Next magazines, for more techie stuff for the programmer in you, to people like me cheerleading you. It's got all sorts of stuff, reviews on games. It's just fun. And introductions of new games coming out, you name it. It's a cool magazine. I'll put the link down below. Hopefully you enjoyed that reading session. There's no campfire behind me or no fireplace because it's freaking hot in here. I'm sweating beads and I'm going to wipe my forehead. So thanks for watching this video. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.